You are now listening to the Outsider Sports Show right here on The Hog, the most comprehensive and hard-hitting sports hour on radio today. And now, coming at you with their unabashed sports magnetism, here are your hosts, Clint Schweitzer and Noah Groniger.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Outsider Sports Show. Clint Schweitzer and Noah Groniger joining you here. We are pulling a football doubleheader weekend live in Nashville, Tennessee, guys. We've got Mizzou and Vanderbilt going on today. Chiefs-Titans tomorrow at LP Field. It is a Music City magical weekend, Noah, for us. We're sending it all back to you guys here on The Hog, broadcasting live from our mobile studio.
Yeah, it's great to be here in Nashville, sending it back to Kansas City. We've got a huge weekend. We're going to have it all covered for you right here on The Hog.
All this great college football and NFL action, we got you right here. We're going to have some great guests coming on here today, guys. Nick Cole, a sports writer from the Tennessean, is going to be joining us to talk Mizzou and Vanderbilt coming up later today. Also, Sean Salisbury, one of the best in the business from Yahoo Sports Radio, going to be joining us talking NFL, Kansas City Chiefs, all things football. And Chris Claiborne, former USC linebacker from the Detroit Lions, going to be coming on talking about the firing of Lane Kiffin. Can't wait to break down all the action with these guys. Going to be really big, of course. Starting with college football, we got Missouri at Vanderbilt today. We're here in Nashville, really hoping that some of these supposed T-storms hold off, as you never want to be in the middle of a monsoon.
No, I think the last time we were together in a monsoon was a Chiefs-Chargers game, yeah. Monday Night Football. I went to get some coverage at halftime. You stayed out and watched Train.
I wanted to watch Train perform, Calling All Angels and Hey Soul Sister, which I did at halftime in that monsoon in 2010. But here we are. So far, pretty crisp. Nice fall afternoon. Going to be a great game here, Missouri and Vanderbilt. I'll tell you what. First SEC game for Missouri. They are 4-0 coming into this game, but the Vanderbilt Commodores have already played two SEC games. They have lost Ole Miss and South Carolina, but I'll tell you what, they were resilient in both games, and I like the balanced offense of Vanderbilt. We're going to talk to Nick Cole from the Tennessean to break this game down a little later. Going to ask him about the offensive line, because I'll tell you what, if there is a weakness, it may be this Commodore offensive line. Now, a couple starters may be out.
Yeah, but this is going to be Missouri's first real big test. Like you mentioned, Vanderbilt played Ole Miss and South Carolina and played them very close, down to the wire games. And they've been tested, they've been challenged, they've been through that rigorous schedule for those two. And this is Missouri's chance to show if they belong there.
Yeah, I think so. And Vanderbilt came in and beat Missouri and Columbia last year. Very disappointing loss for the Tigers. They had to do that without starting quarterback James Franklin and a decimated offensive line. Still almost won the football game, actually. But this is a different season. I think Missouri's a better football team, and I think Vanderbilt has not had the drop-off that a lot of people thought they might have, although they do have the two losses. But it's all about your schedule, where you play the games. They've already had two SEC games, like we mentioned. It's going to be tough for Missouri to come in here today and get a win. We'll see what happens. A lot of Missouri fans down here. We were at Honky Tonk Central last night in downtown Nashville with a lot of great Tiger fans. We're up here early at 10 a.m., so I don't know. Find out how much fun we had at Honky Tonk Central maybe at a later time. Maybe some pictures will surface later. No, I don't know.
It could be, possibly. We have them in the works right now. But these Missouri fans are excited, and as they should be. First SEC game against Vanderbilt. Lots of great things have been happening with Missouri. James Franklin has been playing consistent, improved football this year, so it's going to be a great game.
I think so, and you talk about Vanderbilt here, and this is a little bit different setup, not like a lot of the other SEC teams. Last year, road trip down to Knoxville as Missouri knocked off Tennessee, which was an unbelievable atmosphere. Huge stadium, over 100,000. Here in Nashville for Vanderbilt, it's a private school. It's a bit different. Not a lot of tailgating here. It's kind of in the heart of the city down here. So not a lot of tailgating areas, not a lot of crazy SEC atmosphere like you're used to at places like Florida, LSU, Alabama. We talked about Tennessee. Smallest stadium in the conference, a 40,000-seat stadium. So Missouri's not necessarily coming into a hostile atmosphere here, but James Franklin, the coach, of Vanderbilt, has really turned this program around. A very good team. I really like what I've seen. Jordan Matthews, this receiver for Vanderbilt, is just ungodly. He's unstoppable right now. Missouri, who has been playing soft coverage, our cornerbacks have been playing 5 to 7 yards off the ball each play so far through the first 4 games. If they do that and they let Jordan Matthews catch balls underneath that coverage, it's going to be a really long day. We'll see what kind of defensive schemes defensive coordinator Dave Steckel comes up with for this game, because you cannot let Jordan Matthews just make catch after catch, can you?
Oh, definitely not. And even in the first 2 SEC games that Vanderbilt played against Ole Miss and against South Carolina, they looked like they were trying to double team him, and we'll get more into that with Nick Cole, but it looked like Ole Miss and South Carolina couldn't stop him either, even though they were trying to double team him.
We'll see. This is great. It's great to be down here. Great to be broadcasting from down here, giving you guys all the updates. And it's a big day in college football as we move, away from Missouri Vanderbilt for a moment, as we talk about probably the game of the week, which is going to be Northwestern hosting Ohio State. Is this Northwestern's time to shine as College Game Day is there? Ohio State, Braxton Miller came back. They got the win over Wisconsin last week. As Ohio State, this is a team that a lot of people picked to go undefeated, but is this a chance for Northwestern to really, under Pat Fitzgerald, take that next step and knock off a big ranked team like Ohio State?
I don't think so. I think Northwestern's time has kind of passed a little bit. I think they're a little bit on the downslope. I don't want to say anything too severe here. They're not a bad football team.
Well, the Big Ten's not a good conference. I mean, they're an okay team in a poor conference.
Yes, that's true. And Ohio State just has too much firepower. Braxton Miller's too explosive, too experienced, and Ohio State will get an easy win, I believe.
Well, the SEC schedule is in full swing. A lot of big games coming out. Of course, last week we had Arkansas, Texas A&M, very good football game. Texas A&M, Johnny Football gets past Arkansas, who's still a team improving. And what about last week? Georgia and LSU, an unbelievable game, 44-41. Aaron Murray leads the Georgia Bulldogs past LSU. The SEC looks totally different. Still a lot of good teams, but giving up some points out there, man.
Yeah, they're giving up points, but I heard a good point made. I think it was by Kirk Herbstreit, who said that there are better quarterbacks in the SEC than there have been in a long time with A.J. McCarron, Aaron Murray, Johnny Manziel, Zach Mettenberger, so on and so on. I mean, you have a lot of really good quarterbacks that can defeat that strong defense that the SEC is known for.
And explosive playmakers to stretch the field. We talked about Jordan Matthews from Vanderbilt. You talked about Dorial Green-Beckham from Missouri. So many more. The duo of receivers from Alabama. I mean, there's a lot of playmakers. You talk about Aaron Murray, the targets he has to throw to. A lot of playmakers as well as those quarterbacks like you mentioned. The SEC also lost a ton of defensive talent to the NFL last year, hard to replace. So we'll see kind of how that goes. I'll tell you what, we talk about how good the SEC is, how good the SEC always is. I want to talk about a conference that is really struggling right now, and that's the Big 12, Missouri's former conference. How bad is the Big 12 when the team picked to win that league goes on the road and loses to a dismal West Virginia team last week? I'm talking about Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Big 12 at all. I mean, you had Oklahoma beating Notre Dame, but other than that, this league is disastrous. It is blowing up. They thought it was going to be something big with West Virginia and TCU being added while Missouri and Texas A&M left. They were wrong, and this thing could blow up at any second.
Oh, I agree with you because a lot of talk whenever not only Missouri and A&M, but when Nebraska left, a lot of people said, well, we just replaced him with TCU and West Virginia, and so long, and we're off and running. Wrong. It has been an unmitigated disaster. This conference is nothing short of a joke in 2013, because I'll tell you what, Baylor might win the thing. The Baylor Bears might win the Big 12. It's Baylor or Oklahoma. That's it. I won't listen to another argument.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma. They're a proven team. They've got the coach, Bob Stoops, and I just think they're going to do it. But yes, the fact that Baylor's in the conversation is kind of crazy right now. Without Robert Griffin III or anybody like that, it's just crazy.
Art Briles is unbelievable. He's putting up points, and I'll tell you what, the Texas Longhorns are maybe to blame for a lot of this ineptitude of the conference. They wanted to take control of that league, seize control. A lot of those other schools wanted to break away. Missouri, Texas A&M, they'd say, forget this. We want to go do our own thing. Those teams are now, flourishing, is certainly financially, and in the case of like Texas A&M, recruiting picked up. The stadium is being renovated. They have a Heisman Trophy winner. Missouri's attendance is up. They're adding up to 85,000 seats up to that onto Missouri Stadium. The SEC is where the money is. That's where the fan support is. The Big 12, you look around, you look at the matchups, and you just go, eh.
Exactly. I mean, you've got the K-State Wildcats. You've got the Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns, as you said, we're going to try and take control of that division. But Mac Brown has just lost it. He needs to go. He's missed on some quarterbacks. Johnny Manziel or Robert Griffin, he wanted them to switch positions other than quarterback. He wanted them to play on the defensive side of the ball.
Wow.
He was gone with David Ash. That hasn't quite worked out. So it's just really missed for Mac Brown. I think he's kind of lost whatever he used to have. And it's time to move on, get some new coaches, new blood in there, and see if they can revive what the Big 12 used to be.
And let's not forget the Kansas Jayhawks are in that league, and that certainly is not going to be a help. But on to some football that matters. When we come back from break, we're going to be talking to Nick Cole from the Tennessean, breaking down Missouri and Vanderbilt. And welcome back to the Outsider Sports Show here on The Hog. Getting ready to bring on our first guest, Nick Cole. He is a sports writer for the Tennessean here in Nashville. Going to be talking Mizzou and Vanderbilt. Nick, welcome to the show. Tell you what, big game going on here in Nashville tonight, 6:30 local time. I'll tell you one thing that a lot of people are talking about, though, is this Vanderbilt offensive line, that there could be some trouble, could be some starters out. What's the status on these guys, and how do you think this will affect the game?
Your guess is as good as mine in terms of who's actually going to play based on the depth charts and things like that. But I will say that for the most part, the guys that have been playing in place of the injured players have been playing pretty well. Yeah, Andrew Jelks made his first career start on the line last week. He was a big-time recruit for them in Tennessee, pulled him out of volunteer country, a guy that had orange and white on his walls in his home there, and Franklin went in there and got him, and he's a guy that stepped in as a redshirt freshman, and they really didn't see, if anything, they had some of their better line play of the year last week, I thought. So I think that their line should be okay. The main cog there is Wesley Johnson, who has started, he's a senior there, he started every game of his career, and actually, interestingly enough, got his first holding call of his career last week against JB, which was really phenomenal. I think he went 43 games without a penalty, which is almost unheard of. But they should be okay on the line, I think.
What are we going to see out of the running backs this week between Jerron Seymour and Wesley Tate? Jerron Seymour has a better yard per carry average with 6.1. Do you think we're going to see a little bit more of him?
Right. Well, Seymour, he did break a 58-yard touchdown run out of the Wildcat last week and topped 100 yards. I think it was their first 100-yard rusher of the year. So, yeah, he's a guy that, they list him at like 5'7", and he might be 5'7", but he's a very small guy, but he's built like a tank. He reminds me a little bit of a smaller Zach Stacy, who you guys may be getting familiar with there in Missouri. I know he didn't play much for the Rams, but he was an all-time leading rusher of Vandy. So, he has that sort of a build to him, whereas Wesley Tate, he's a younger brother of Seahawks wide receiver Golden Tate. He has more of a receiver's build. He's like 6'1", 225. He's moved from wide receiver to running back to wide receiver to running back over his 4-year career here. And actually, he's a fifth-year senior. But he's more their power guy. And I think that Coach Franklin alluded to it a couple of days ago. They feel more comfortable with him in pass protection as well. So while Seymour may have a better yards per carry and maybe that big play threat, I think around the goal line and when they need to make sure they're protecting Austin Carter-Samuels, you're going to see plenty of Wesley Tate as well. The wild card in that is Brian Kimbrough, who was a 4-star recruit out of Memphis that is in his sophomore season that they expected big things from when they brought him in, and he showed some flashes in his freshman year. He was really a part of a three running back rotation that they've been using for most of the year, but he missed some time in the UMass game, actually didn't play at all. Created a little bit of a controversy with some tweets he made about being upset and thinking about transferring, and so he sort of got himself into the doghouse even further, saw only scraps at the very end of the game against UAB, so he may work himself back into favor. He's definitely the most explosive running back they have, so that may be a guy to watch for too.
You talked about Austin Carter-Samuels, who replaced Rogers, who was very effective last year for the Commodores. What are the early returns on Austin, as he's already thrown for 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns? What are you seeing so far out of him leading this group at quarterback?
Yeah, if anything, he may be better than Jordan Rogers. He's had 2 300-yard games this season. Vanderbilt had not had a 300-yard passer since 2006, so that's basically the year after Jay Cutler was there. So we're talking about a pretty big gap between guys that could really throw the ball down the field. Now, a lot of that comes from having a senior All-American type receiver in Jordan Matthews to throw to, and Austin Carter-Samuels will lock on Jordan Matthews. If you look at the numbers, he's targeting him in the double digits every game. So that's definitely a guy he looks for. But Carter-Samuels comes in. He's a little bit of a unique situation. He's a fifth-year senior. He transferred into Vanderbilt from Wyoming, where he actually started, I think, 2 seasons for the Cowboys. Was all freshman of the year in the Mountain West Conference, I believe. So when he came in here, he sat out his year and then sat behind Rogers for a year. And so he had 2 years. He's been here as long as Franklin has. So he's really had a chance to learn Franklin's offense, and coming in as a fifth-year senior with all that tutelage time he had and the 2 years of starting experience he had at the Division I level, he really has made it a seamless transition.
Going back to Jordan Matthews, is there any way that Missouri can stop him and make him go to other options like a Jonathan Krause, or is he just unstoppable and going to do his thing?
You know, guys, if you guys stop him, if Missouri can stop him, it will be the first team that I've seen stop him this year. He is just an exceptional talent. You know, and Ole Miss used bracket coverage, double coverage. I mean, they threw the kitchen sink at him, and he still went off in that game. I'm sure you guys may have seen that on ESPN opening week. And really, he's just the best playmaker that they have, and they're going to force the ball to him no matter what the situation is. I mean, I think it's a situation where they expect him to be double covered, and they're still going to try to give him the ball. Like you said, Jonathan Krause is a guy that really stepped up and has sort of been that complimentary receiver for Matthews, taking a little bit of the heat off of him. He's been catching some deep balls. He got a 55-yarder last week, and against UMass he caught, I think it was a 40-some-odd-yard touchdown pass as well. So he's able to stretch the field a little bit and take the focus off of Matthews. And if Vanderbilt's able to hit Krause early, that's certainly going to help open up Matthews.
Of course, Vanderbilt was able to come into Columbia and defeat Missouri last year during Missouri's first year in the SEC. Now Missouri comes to Nashville with a 4-0 record, albeit against lesser competition. Do you think Vanderbilt, the fact they've played 2 conference games and albeit tough losses, that's going to be an advantage for Vanderbilt coming into this game, considering Missouri has yet to play a conference game yet?
You know, guys, I would think that it might be. It might very well be. Vanderbilt definitely feels like they're tested in the SEC, and they feel like they've been in games that they could have won against top 25 teams. That being said, if James Franklin stays healthy in that game last year, we may have been looking at a different outcome. I feel like this game, particularly for Vanderbilt, might be the most important game left on their schedule, just from the standpoint that any other game, if you go down the list of them, they're either a decided underdog or probably a decided favorite in those games. And this is the real coin toss left on their schedule, where if they can get that first SEC win, move to 4-2, they may be looking at a third straight year of a bowl appearance, which is unheard of around here, to be honest. Whereas if they lose this game to Missouri, they drop to 0-3 in the conference, and things don't get much easier for them in the coming weeks with Texas A&M, Georgia, Florida, so on and so forth. They may be staring, a 5-7 season in the face.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nick, we're coming down. The Outsiders are coming down to Nashville, pulling a doubleheader. We got, Mizzou Vandy on Saturday, Chiefs Titans on Sunday. What can we expect from the atmosphere down there? Not only for the big game at Vanderbilt Stadium on Saturday, but also at LP Field for the Titans Chiefs on Sunday.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the only one trying to pull that doubleheader. I've got some cousins from the St. Louis area, and they are crashing my place to do the same thing. They're wanting to see that Mizzou Chiefs doubleheader. Now, what you should expect to see at Vanderbilt is an interesting setup. If you've never been there, it's a little bit different than any place in the conference. Obviously, it has its differences in that it's a smaller private school. Enrollment is under 7,000 versus I think you guys have like 27,000 up there at Mizzou. Yeah. So it's a little bit different atmosphere, but it's an urban atmosphere. It's in the middle of downtown Nashville, so there's not a lot of green space. For your tailgating, stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of parking garages, a lot of buildings. It's a different experience. The fans there are passionate about their team. It's the smallest venue in the conference by quite a bit, but it should be packed. It's going to be homecoming for them, and I'm not sure that's no disrespect to Missouri in the scheduling of the homecoming, but so that should make for a good atmosphere. And as for the Sunday game with the Titans and the Chiefs, I would expect that LP Field will be sold out again. It's been sold out every game since they've been here, but Titans fans have not had a lot to cheer for over the last 5-6 years, so they are very excited with the 3-1 start, as I'm sure the Chiefs fans are with that 4-0 start there.
Well, we're going to hold your feet to the fire now. What's your prediction for the game Saturday, Vanderbilt, Missouri?
I tell you what, I think that they have Vandy about a 2 or 3 point favorite right now. Is that what it's running on Vegas?
I've seen 1.5 all the way up to 2.5, 3. Yeah, so somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think that they're they're close there. I think it's going to be one of those games that it's going to be. This is going to sound cliche, but who doesn't turn the ball over? Who doesn't make mistakes? I feel like these teams are pretty on pretty equal footing. There's if you usually hold my feet to the fire, I'm going to take Vanderbilt by a field goal. But I can easily see that the other within one score, either team winning. I think it's going to be within one score.
Yeah, going to be a good one. We're really excited to come down there and check out everything. Nashville's a great city. Really looking forward to it. Nick, can't thank you enough for joining us, breaking down this game. We'll catch up with you down in Nashville, and hope you have a good weekend of football. And we really appreciate you joining us, man. We'll catch up in the future.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. And a big thanks for Nick Cole from the Tennessean joining us to preview Missouri and Vanderbilt, a game that will take place tonight at 6:30 local time here in Nashville, Tennessee. Very excited. Hoping the rain holds off like we talked about earlier. It looks like it's still clear out there, Noah. We'll see what happens, but big game. And I'll tell you what, guys, coming up after the break, a big guest. You guys will not want to miss this. Sean Salisbury from Yahoo Sports Radio will be joining us. Guys, Sean is flat out one of the best in the business talking about sports. He's going to be doing a little Chiefs-Titans preview. Of course, Kansas City Chiefs getting off to that 4-0 start. Noah, there is none better than Sean Salisbury.
There really isn't. Him coming on our podcast before we were even on the radio. Now he's joining us on the Hog. We'll be getting into all kinds of NFL action as well as USC.
Of course, yeah, he was a USC alum, played his college football there. Going to get his take on the firing of Lane Kiffin and where that program goes from here. Of course, also Chris Claiborne coming up later, former USC linebacker, going to be talking about the same kind of topic. But I'll tell you what, Sean is the guy that gave us a chance when we were just a podcast, gave us a chance, came on, talked football with us, liked what he heard, liked the questions, liked the interaction, and we can't thank him enough. He's going to come on, and I'll tell you what, you guys do not want to move. You guys do not want to turn away during this break because Sean's coming up, and he is unfiltered. Sean Unfiltered is his Twitter handle, and he is now always lives up to that.
Definitely. I mean, he tells it like it is. He tells it real. Whether you want to hear it or not, he's going to tell you the way it is.
All right, guys, coming right up, we got Sean Salisbury from Yahoo Sports Radio joining us right after the break here on The Hog. And we are being joined right here on the Outsider Sports Show by Sean Salisbury of Yahoo Radio. Sean, welcome to the show. Haven't talked to you since you landed the new gig with Yahoo. Congratulations on that, first of all. Hope everything's going well.
Yeah, it's going wonderful. Thank you for the compliment. I love it. Being part of Yahoo Sports Radio has been a great start, and working on it'll be a month at the end of this week, so it's been good, and just the beginning, hopefully, of jumping back into doing all the things I love to do. Thanks for having me on.
Well, there's no one better than you, Sean. They're lucky to have you, and I'll tell you what, we're lucky to have you on today. And the last time we spoke, we did an NFL preview with you back before the season, and here we are in Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs sit at 4-0, heading into a big game at Tennessee. Sean, what do you make of this Chiefs team so far, getting it done with a real stingy defense and a quarterback that's not making many mistakes?
Well, going into the season, I figured that they'd be the team that would turn it around the most, just because they had a lot of Pro Bowlers on their team last year. They just couldn't put it together as a unit, and it's amazing what a coach and a quarterback will do to turn things around. You just need, when somebody infuses, confidence and believability in yourselves and in the team, it can turn around. I'm impressed. This isn't fake. This team's for real. I think they're close to being, and I mean sincere about this, when I think of the swarming dominant defenses in the NFL, I don't think they're far off. I think they're only giving up 8-10 points a game right now, something like that. I think they're so close, and I said it even after game 2. I was on an interview somewhere, might even been on my own show, talking about that I'm talking about we are thumb to forefinger away, just an inch away from them being one of those teams, because they got a great player on every position. They're good at the linebacker. They're active. They're up front. They can take on double teams with the nose tackle. The secondary will hit you. I'm impressed. I really am. I like the way they're playing, and I love the way Andy Reid's letting his coaches do their thing. And on the other side of the ball, you got a quarterback. I'd like to see Alex take a few more chances, but you know what? I'm not complaining at 4-0. He's an efficient guy. He's very, very active with his feet as well. He's smart. I think he's probably the most, over the last, maybe as underrated a quarterback we've had in the league in a long time, because of all he went through in San Francisco, all he had to overcome, different coordinators, different head coaches, and then as about 100 quarterback rating gets pushed by the wayside over injury, and Colin plays well in San Francisco, and now look at him, another coach, another coordinator, another head coach, another team, just look what he's doing. So I'll always take a guy who protects the football and gives you a chance to win. There is going to come a time this year, guys, whether it's against Denver or San Diego or somewhere else, that down the field, taking chances, he's going to have to pull the trigger and take a few chances. But, I don't think he's scared to take those chances. I just think he's playing within the system right now. But it's going to take some, because Manning or somebody's going to put on a show and put the defense in its place for a week. It happens even if you're a great defense. And Alex is going to have to carry them and throw on the ball. And we'll see if they can stretch the field a little bit more. But the way they're doing it now, when you're 4-0, I don't argue with results, because that's all I am about results, and they're getting them. So congratulations to their start, and I know that they're not happy. I mean, I know they're not content with it, so we'll see how it continues to roll.
We were talking the other day about Alex Smith, and I'm not as high on him as you are. Do you think he can keep this up and be consistent and get the ball downfield more like you were talking about? Do you think that can happen as you're watching him, or do you just think he doesn't have the arm talent and the accuracy on his downfield passes?
Well, I first of all don't believe, and I always wonder why people are. I mean, when you say high on him, do I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league? Absolutely not. But I'm always looking for quarterbacks or any player, a winner, to go through crap, just complete BS, and still overcome it. I don't know many quarterbacks in this league that could go through 4, 5, 6 offensive coordinators in their career and still be a success. And I believe he's highly underrated. Is he in the Manning and Breeze group? No. He may not even be in the next group. He may be in that 13 to 16, 12 to 18 guy, somewhere in there. But any quarterback that's a starting quarterback in the National Football League, I listen to broadcasters, and you make a great point because you seem to hear it too, is this, look at the arm strength. Arm strength's great. I know a lot of stiffs with a lot of the strong arm can't play a lick. Put it this way, I'll take Alex Smith over Cutler. They got a strong arm in Jay Cutler in Chicago. He's more talented, great arm, can throw it through a car wash and not get it wet. But do I trust him when it's nut cutting time? And as much as I think Jay's improved and Trestman's done a great job with him, and he's got a hose for an arm. Arm strength is overrated. Arm strength it's great to have when you got to throw through 3 guys and you got to put it in there. But you know what? Steve Young, Joe Montana, average arms. Average arms at best when it comes to throwing the football. Average. Great arm. Yeah, if you're fortunate to have Marvin Elway, great. Those guys don't exist very often. But give me an accurate guy with balls, and I'll show you a winner. And then he's got to have some guts. So I do believe he's got the plenty of arm strength. You're not the first pick of the draft without arm strength. So would it be nice to have Matt Stafford's arm? Yeah. But I'll take great mechanics over great arm. Accuracy, guts and accuracy are the 2 most important things I need as a quarterback. So I think Alex Smith, is he going to go to the Pro Bowl? Probably not. But you know what? He wins. And he continues to win. So do I believe he's got the arm strength to push it down the field? Yes. I think they still need a second way wide, not a slot guy, but a wide out offset bow. I think they're still missing one major weapon there. But while he may not be a Super Bowl winner, he's going to have him in the playoffs. And once they get in, anything's a go. And I'll take a quarterback who protects the football and he throws it to the right guy before I'll take a guy who looks great in a pair of shorts and can throw it. But can he, when it's that time, make things happen? His arm's as strong as Schaub's. His arm's time to go around the league, but guys his arm's strong as. So we'll see. And my gut tells me the strong arm Stafford, good. They're playing well. I'll take Kansas City going a little farther in the playoffs or a little farther this season than I will a guy that can throw it 102 miles an hour. That's just me. I'll take accuracy. But you know what? We'll find out by the end. But for his first system, another new coach, I'm okay. He's proven to me he can overcome adversity, and I think that Kansas City's got their best quarterback there since actually probably when Rich Gannon was a backup, to be honest with you, and started sometimes over Elvis.
Very intriguing matchup. We're here in Nashville getting ready to cover Chiefs and Titans this Sunday. The Titans come in at 3-1. A lot of people kind of overlooking them. Obviously, Jake Locker down with injury. Ryan Fitzpatrick very capable in the backup spot. What do you make of these Tennessee Titans, and how do you see this game playing out on Sunday, Chiefs at Titans?
I'm picking the Chiefs. I think their defense is good enough. Now, the one thing that's fortunate for Tennessee, when your starting quarterback goes down, to have a guy like Fitzpatrick who's smart and has been a starter in the league and a backup. He knows both roles. He's a guy that probably doesn't need many snaps because he's an Ivy League guy and is very, very bright and will understand how to keep his team in position. And he's got you talk about a guy who can throw it, but I think he's in a perfect role. So I don't think Tennessee's production throwing the football will fall off at all this weekend. Matter of fact, just pure true passing, Fitzpatrick at times may actually be better. He just can't move around like Jake and is not the athlete. So I expect it to be a competitive game. I like Kansas City. Tennessee will be good at home. They're playing, excuse me, guys, like Mike Munchak wants them too physical, not beating themselves. You know, as an offensive lineman when he was in this league, known Munch a long time. He'd knock people over, hit somebody in an opposite color jersey, and do the things they're supposed to do to win. So I don't think people are giving them much credit at all, but I damn well know they can play. I still, as long as Kansas City's focused, and they continue to do the right thing, when you look at both sides of the ball for both teams and mix in special teams with Dexter and, you know, taking the ball the distance with Kansas City, I like the Chiefs in the game. I think the Chiefs are going to be 5-0, and what's amazing about it is how well the Broncos are playing. They can't gain any ground. They can't separate themselves from Kansas City right now. And Dallas is, you know, waiting for Denver to come to town, so that should be a pretty impressive game. So as well as Manning and the boys are playing, they're separating themselves and not 1 ounce because of the way the Kansas City Chiefs are staying in these games.
The Tennessee Titans will probably be the best defense the Chiefs have seen so far in this early season. Do you think that Alex Smith will be able to continue his success in moving the ball and getting downfield?
Yeah, as long as, you know, they still got to run it. I mean, they've got to run it, and they've got to still attack it that way and play action. But I don't think to me, it's all about protection. Good defenses are great until you're not putting any pressure on the quarterback. If you're not hitting the quarterback, average quarterbacks become really good. So, you know, their goal, first of all, in Tennessee is going to be, one, make sure that the run doesn't go crazy. Don't give up the home run. And make sure they don't run the ball for 185 yards on us. And they're probably going to say make Alex Smith beat us. I'm imagining that's what Tennessee's approach is going to be, to approach the same way you guys are talking. Is he good enough to carry it if they load the box with 8 or 9 guys and they've got to play man coverage on the outside? I think he'll be challenged at times. If they can protect the passer, I think that Alex Smith's going to be fine. Like I said, he's a winner. He's a winner. That guy was 2 years ago. He has him in the NFC, you know, with 12-4, whatever, and has him a step away from heading to the Super Bowl. And now, you know, he's had him in great position in San Francisco last year. Midway point loses his job. Also, when you look at his winning and loss percentage, the guy wins. As long as he keeps winning, I am never a dog a guy who can't. Give me statistics and a loser. I'll show you a guy who's going to be a good video game guy. Give me good statistics, but a winner that doesn't lose and doesn't have those 5,000-yard seasons, but his team's 7-9. I'll take an Alex Smith, and I think this is a good challenge. Underrated game this weekend. Underrated game. I'm still not buying the Tennessee Titans just yet as far as a full season playoff team. I'm still not buying them yet. I still think they're the third best team in the division. But we're about to find out as they go up against a really, really solid Kansas City Chiefs defense. They'll be challenged this weekend.
Sean, let's switch gears a little bit to college football and talk a little bit about your alma mater, USC, firing Lane Kiffin last week following a loss to Arizona State. Where do you see this coaching search headed, and how disappointed really are you and a lot of USC alums as far as how his career played out at USC?
Well, bittersweet because we're a better football team than that, and I don't want to hear anybody make excuses for us because we're docked scholarships. Of course we are, but you still got to line up and play, and we still get great players there. So I don't want to hear that's you know, it'd be nice to have 10 more scholarships here, but still got to line up and play. Well, it's bittersweet. I'm bummed the way they've played, but this had to happen. And I like Lane. Heck, his dad, Monty, and he was on our defensive staff in Minnesota. We used to go watch Lane. I went in to watch Lane play high school football. So I've known Lane forever. Like him as a guy. Think he's a really good assistant coach and really good X's and O's guy. But I don't think it was a natural. I don't think his leadership was natural. I think it was forced, and it seemed like he had a chip on his shoulder with the media and almost tried to prove to the world that he belonged as USC's head coach instead of just being a head coach. Don't micromanage with getting angry when a media guy asks you a question you don't like. Just deal with it. That's the nature of the head coach, and I don't like a head coach that calls plays. Unless your name's Sean Payton, he's the aberration. Hire the coordinator, have him call it. That's why you hired him in the first place. So I just think that he got so caught up in the managing people, which I don't believe you manage people. I believe you manage things and you lead people. People who manage people aren't the type of coach I want, and sure as heck not the type of quarterback I want. So the next one will be more a fit for what USC likes and needs and does, and a representative of it. Lane will land on his feet. He'll get a job. He'll coach him up somewhere. But in that position, the three prestigious jobs he had by the time he was 35 years old, you'd have thought along the way he'd have learned how to be a head coach. And being a head coach goes a lot farther. You don't need to be an X's and O's guy as a head coach. You've been an X's and O's guy to get the head coaching job. Now you've got to lead people and hire your assistants to be great X's and O's guys. So while it's a bummer the way we played, we'll play with more energy under Ed Orgeron. They'll have more fun, and then they'll go out and get a guy like Jack Del Rio, or Kevin Sumlin, somebody like that is ready for the next step, and to get the recruiting, and Lane can recruit, but to keep these players happy, and not only keep them happy, but demand respect. I think Lane was one of those guys that had to ask for it, and while I like him, it just wasn't a fit, and he may be a head coach somewhere else, but that university, I think, was bigger than Lane Kiffin, to be honest with you. And the next guy, Pat Hayden, will have the next guy, Pat Hayden's old school USC, and it will be a man who is a head coach who hires assistants and who isn't calling plays. He's going to he'll hire somebody who knows how to call plays as his assistant. So I'm looking forward to the search, looking forward to seeing who it's going to be. And there's any number of 10 guys, but you offer somebody the USC job, it's one of the 3, 4 best. Some think it's the best, some think it's the third best job in college football. And you're going to get a great coach because it's one of those. The coach is going to recruit you. You don't have to recruit the coach. It'll be interesting to see who gets it.
What about Sean Salisbury? We're going to hear your name come up in the coaching search there.
I put it this way. I'll be shocked if in the next year or two you don't see me on a staff somewhere, to be honest with you. But I don't, I love doing TV and radio, but I also love this challenge. I'm not ready to be the head coach of USC. Well, I'd love it.
Yeah, we love it.
I mean, I'm qualified as a no football, and I've been around it long enough, but I would say you've got to get somebody with a resume who's been down the road a little bit. Am I qualified to go in there and call plays or be a quarterback coach? Absolutely. So, no, you're not going to hear my name called as a head coach yet, at least not at that university and anywhere else, but you give it time. If it turns out the way that when I hit it hard and go after coaching harder for the first time in my career, I think it'll turn out okay. But you never know. But if the right guys get head coaching jobs and position of offenses and the people that I are familiar with what I'm all about, you never know. I might be standing on the sidelines in 2014 as an assistant somewhere. I would say the odds of that are better than they aren't.
Well, Sean, we love it. And I tell you what, before we let you go, we have to give a big thank you because I don't know if you're aware or not. Noah and I, now on the radio here in Kansas City, we've had you on our podcast before we had this opportunity. And one of the reasons we're able to have this opportunity to be on the radio every Saturday morning is because of having guests like you come on, giving us a chance, coming on, talking football with us. Sean, from the bottom of our hearts, we can't thank you enough because that has really gotten us where we want to be. And we know you're at Yahoo Sports Radio now doing a great job. We just want to thank you for that so much.
Well, gosh, you guys don't owe me a thanks. I'm honored that you would hold me in high enough regard to have me on as often as you have and at least ask. And you guys did that on your own. You've been asking them good questions, and I can tell you, knowing you really well, the persistence you guys had, and you guys do a great job on your show. And you're not where you want to be yet. Trust me, you guys still got a lot more great stuff to do, but it's a heck of a start. And what I mean by that is you're just keep taking the steps, and proud of the way you guys are doing. This is only the beginning for you guys' great success. I'm just glad you let me be a little bit of a part of it. Thank you.
Well, we thank you so much, Sean. Good luck. We'll definitely be tuning in on Yahoo Sports Radio. And absolutely for our listeners that haven't heard us yet, be sure to follow Sean on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Some great stuff. Always going to get the real deal from Sean. Man, Sean, you're the man. We can't wait to catch up with you again here in a few weeks. Let's do it. We appreciate it. And again, from the bottom of our hearts, thanks so much for being a part of our show.
You guys are awesome. Thanks. Have a great week and enjoy that game with Tennessee.
Definitely will. Take care, Sean.
Thanks, fellas.
So great to hear from Sean Salisbury. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We hope to have him on again as the season progresses. So many nice words he had for us, and I'm just so thankful for Sean for coming on.
Yeah, I mean, the whole time he's been on through our podcast days and now his first time right here on The Hog with us. Can't thank him enough for those kind words. It means the world to us to hear that from Sean because we think the world of him.
All right, coming up after the break, guys, we're going to be talking to Chris Claiborne, former USC linebacker, about the firing of Lane Kiffin and where the program is going to go from there. Also, your NFL news coming up. Chiefs, NFL, right after the break here on The Hog. And right here on the Outsider Sports Show, we are joined by former USC Trojan, the only Butkus Award winner in the history of that program down at USC, Chris Claiborne. Chris, welcome to the show. It's been a while since we've talked to you, man, but we're glad to hear from you. Of course, a lot going on at your alma mater, USC. What do you make of this? Lane Kiffin is out. What are your thoughts on that situation?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back. This is my biggest thing with as a coach at USC. If you notice, the coaches that have been there, they've always had, the ones that are successful, always have a great personality. And it seems like that's kind of been the thing that people haven't liked about Lane, is his personality. Personally, he's a nice, pleasant guy. I've known him for quite a few years. He went to Fresno State with my brother. But
you're trying to build a program, and it's built off of the finances of individual donors and stuff like that, you got to be able to smooth and rub the right backs and make people feel good about what you're doing as the process is going.
Where do you think this is going to head from here? USC, one of the most attractive jobs in all of college football. You played there. You know what a great storied program it is. Where do you think that this thing's going to go, and who do you think they should target?
Well, I think we should target an NFL guy with ties to the school. So there's a couple guys. There's Jack Del Rio. There's Dennis Thurman, who's over at the Jets, who's the defensive coordinator there. So there's a couple guys. Of course, Fisher's already at in the league for so many years. I doubt he would ever leave the Rams, so I don't think that's really an option. And then you got some college guys. You got the guy at Boise State, but I think he's comfortable. Mike Riley, possibly fighter to be one. They kind of keep their stuff in-house right now, but I think those are the kind of guys that you kind of got to get in there to revive the program.
What about Chris Claiborne?
No, sir. I'm a family man first. So those guys work too much.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, how disappointing was it for you as an alum to see how this thing unfolded with Coach Kiffin? Was it? I mean, looking at all the talent that he was bringing in down there. Of course, Southern California, just a plethora of high school talent. So many great high schools. How disappointing was that for you that it turned out the way it did?
Well, it's kind of like the thought was, okay, well, he's a coach now for going through the sanctions. And he had a good year, man. He had a good, solid year one year, and it looked like, he was going to be able to battle through the sanctions. But there was always little things coming up that was kind of annoying. I think, like the football thing, where they took the air out of football. The scores are getting, ridiculous. So, and then, like there's other little things that was coming out of the program that, we were hearing about that wasn't cool. So, those were the things. They were more like, hearing the rumors and things like that, and that affect your recruiting and affect the way your schools looked at.
Well, we can only hope they can bring somebody in there like a Jack Del Rio, and that would also help out the Chiefs, as Jack Del Rio's their defensive coordinator there, and with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he's doing a great job over there. I mean, that Bronco team is serious with the offense they have, and the way they've been trying to plug in guys playing over there. Yeah, they look good.
Going back to your career, I wanted to take a moment with the Detroit Lions in the NFL. Going back to week 2 of the 2001 season, you guys play the Cleveland Browns. First week, Charlie Batch had played. You guys lost to the Green Bay Packers, and then Marty Mornhinweg pulls Charlie Batch for week 2, puts in Ty Detmer. Ty Detmer throws 7 interceptions, tying an NFL record against the Cleveland Browns. I know it was early in the season, but did you guys already start to not buy into his program after that decision?
Well, Charlie got a bad deal, I'm sure. But the league is all about business. It really is, and are you that person's guy? How's the relationships? Like some of that stuff is involved in the game. There's other parts where you got to play no matter what. But then, hey, they try to get rid of you as soon as they can. So that's just his business. I'm sure. Charlie would have more of an input on that than me. But throwing 7 interceptions definitely doesn't give us a chance at winning games.
Well, Chris, can't thank you enough for joining us. We'll see how this thing with USC plays out. We know your time's short and you got to run, man. Thanks a lot for coming on the Outsider Sports Show here today. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, bye.
Great to hear from Chris Claiborne, guys, and I'll tell you what, former USC Trojan, former Detroit Lion, he's got a lot of opinions about this USC situation, as did Sean Salisbury.
Yeah, but apparently they don't want the job. Chris a little bit family-oriented there, so coaching is a little too time-consuming. And Sean Salisbury, he's going to be on the sidelines soon. We hope it's in Kansas City Chiefs red.
Oh, that would be amazing. I don't think you can cross Sean off the list just yet. I think if they called him, he would go in for an interview. Chris Claiborne, maybe not so much, maybe too much going on with the family and things like that. Home Depot is open on Saturdays and Sundays, so you got to take advantage.
Definitely.
Guys, moving on to the National Football League. The Kansas City Chiefs are 4-0 coming into this week against the Tennessee Titans. 4-0. It's unbelievable. First time since 2003 this has happened, Noah. 31-7, the score out at Arrowhead last Sunday as the Chiefs defeated the New York Giants. What do you make of this team so far? We talked about it last week, 3-0. Here we are, 4-0. They just keep getting better.
It's impressive. The coaching staff is impressive. The defense is impressive. But I'm going to have to disagree with our good friend Sean Salisbury on one point. I would rather have Jay Cutler than Alex Smith
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Jay Cutler's got an amazing arm. Yes, he might get himself in precarious positions, but we've got a great defense, a great running game. The Bears' defense has sagged a little bit with the loss of Brian Urlacher, and Lance Briggs, Julius Peppers getting a little bit older. They're kind of thin at the safety spot. I think if Jay Cutler was our quarterback, we would be winning these games by more points, and he'd have better stats. Dwayne Bowe would be getting the ball more, and things would just look a little bit more cohesive on the offensive side of the ball.
Alex Smith had 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions in the game against the Giants. The Chiefs' defense just took that game over. We worried about what it was going to be like Dunta Robinson trying to cover Victor Cruz, and he burned him early. Long touchdown. But I'll tell you what, that defense stiffened, and that Giants team did nothing the rest of the way. That was a desperate Giants team. It looks like they are just in shambles right now. You saw Eli Manning look lost, just couldn't, the receivers were dropping balls. The offensive line was in shambles. The Chiefs are a 4-0 football team right now, and right now they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and a good performance out of Marcus Cooper, the cornerback we picked up from the Seattle Seahawks. They are corner heavy there. They had Antoine Winfield there, who then just got cut and retired. They've got Walter Thurman, who's a very good nickel corner. Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner, everybody know about. Marcus Cooper gets cut there, comes over to Kansas City, and had a very impressive performance Sunday against the Giants.
I was impressed by that victory because I didn't know how this Chiefs team was going to handle starting 3-0, a big game at home against a desperate team. I didn't know how this team was going to handle it. Andy Reid has these guys dialed in. They're well coached. They're not making mistakes. And they're flat out playing defense, and they're getting people out of there. I mean, they're just absolutely the way this defense is playing. You hate to say it, it reminds me of the '90s. It just does.
Yeah, somewhat. I like Justin Houston, great pass rusher. Maybe not as consistent as a Derek Thomas and a Neil Smith with the Houston and Holly. Maybe not as consistent of pressure put on them. We are getting good push up the middle from Dontari Poe. The linebackers are a little bit better than the Anthony Davises of the world. No offense, Anthony, love you. And our corners, I think they're up there with the Dale Carters and James Hasties. I like our safeties better than what we had in the 90s. So at certain spots, yes, this defense is just like we had in the 1990s.
Well, we're here in Nashville. Chiefs get ready to take on the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. This is an interesting game because the Titans are 3-1. They've lost their quarterback for the next foreseeable future. Sean Salisbury likes the Chiefs to win this game. I think this is a very important game for the Chiefs. If they win this game to get to 5-0, the sky could be the absolute limit for this team because they got the Raiders coming in, they got the Browns and Texans, some teams coming into Arrowhead that we can beat. Now, this Titans team is the best defense, like you mentioned when we talked to Sean, that the Chiefs are going to face up to this point. Who wins this game?
I think because of the fact that Jake Locker's injured with the hip injury and Ryan Fitzpatrick's coming in, not that Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't a good quarterback. I think he's probably the best backup quarterback in the league, maybe other than Brian Hoyer, who's won 2 games with the Cleveland Browns coming in for Brandon Weeden. But I like the Kansas City Chiefs. If Jake Locker was playing, I think this is a 50-50 game. The fact that he's out and Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't as comfortable, hasn't worked as much with the number one team, with the number one unit, and not familiar with the wide receivers, how they break out of their routes and the timing issues. I'm going to give the Chiefs a slight edge in this game.
I'm going to pick the Titans. I've been waiting, not with bated breath, because I certainly don't want it to happen, but I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop on this Chiefs team. The 4-0 start's been amazing. You look around and you go on the road here to a tough place to play here in Nashville, a tough Titans defense. I think this could be the week that the wheels come off for this Chiefs team. Not that I'm, hoping that's going to happen or something. That's obviously not why we're in Nashville. We're here to see victories. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be tough. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be able to distribute the ball around. I think Kenny Brett, this could be a game that he comes back, has a little bit of a resurgence. I like some of the weapons. Justin Hunter, Kendall Wright. There's some receivers on this team. And I'll tell you what, Noah, 2 words that have not been brought up yet. Chris Johnson, one of the league leaders in the NFL this year. People forget about him. This is a very talented offensive line, too. They're not giving up 100 sacks a game like the Giants were.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be tough sledding for us to get pressure on Fitzpatrick. Our luck is that he's less mobile than Jake Locker. He's more of a statuesque type quarterback back there. So if we can get to him, we will get him, and he will go down. Unlike Jake Locker, who can escape more like a Johnny Manziel.
All right. On to the rest of the NFL. So much going on, so little time, guys, as we're getting ready to wrap up our show here. But in the last couple minutes, we got to talk about the Denver Broncos, the Chiefs, the team that the Chiefs are always going to be possibly in the rearview mirror of this whole season, because I don't know that they're going to lose a football game. They play the Dallas Cowboys this Sunday. The Broncos are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, you got Miles Austin out still, and Terrence Williams comes in, a rookie from Baylor, for the Cowboys, and he had a big gaffe last week. He was going into the end zone, tried to extend the ball, got knocked out, and recovered by the other team, so that lost them the game right there, or a chance to come back and try to win the game. The Cowboys just seem to always have those mistakes, and that's with lesser teams or teams on their level. What about the Denver Broncos? They aren't even going to be close. Denver's going to smoke them unless there's some kind of big injuries here. I do see the Broncos going 16-0. I know that may sound crazy to some people because it hardly ever happens, but this team is on fire.
Oh, there's no one can stop them right now. I mean,
NBA Jam, you are on fire.
That's what it reminds me of. Absolutely. And the way Peyton Manning's playing, the way this offense is playing, nobody's going to stop him. Not the Chiefs. They might be able to slow him down. They're not stopping him. Denver's all world, different level. Best team in the NFL right now, bar none. That's it. I mean, they're so impressive. A lot of Chiefs fans already saying, "Oh, wait till the stinky Broncos come to town." Chiefs fans, you don't want that. You don't even want to go there.
You're lucky it's in the middle of November that we don't have to see a crushing loss for this team unless Peyton Manning gets injured. Obviously, there's things that can happen, but if they are healthy and going into that game, it could be very scary for Chiefs fans.
Nothing's set in stone. I'll tell you what, guys. Hope you enjoyed this weekend of action. The Outsider Sports Show. So glad to be with you here again on The Hog. Be sure to check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/theoutsiderspodcast. Our website, theoutsiderspodcast.weebly.com. Can't thank you enough for joining us. Thanks to our guests, Chris Claiborne and Sean Salisbury and Nick Cole, coming on, talking football with us. Guys, we love it. We love to bring the action to you every Saturday morning here on The Hog. No, we absolutely live for it.
Yes, we do. We got to thank Sean Salisbury for the kind words once again. He's such a great guest, the best in the biz. Thank you all for listening, and hope you enjoy. Get your favorite beverages ready. Get your favorite snacks ready. Buckle up for some football. SEC football, NFL football. Guys, it's all coming at you this weekend. The Outsiders Sports Show here on The Hog. Thanks for joining us.